Teacher's Pet is without a doubt one of the saddest cartoons I've ever seen as a child. A premise with such a simple structure that has inevitably sharpened the way cartoons are done. You know, to me, I would think such a show is only to appeal to kids, or to look silly enough to watch and laugh, but this show definitely gave me another look at life as a whole. The story is about a dog named Spot, who feels trapped inside his owner's house, wishing there was a bigger purpose in his life. His other pet mates, Pretty Boy and Mr. Jolly, are pretty much an acceptance of a pet's role, and unlike Spot, they don't question their fate. Spot wants to go to school and become something greater than he is. However, he decides to go to the same school that his owner Leonard goes to. While also Leonard's own mother, which is his teacher, decides to let Spot, in disguise, to be in her class. Spot nervously decides to go on to his alter ego, Scott Letready II, and partake in the classroom. Throughout the show, we see Scott acing his classes, providing speeches upon the things he learns to excel with a bright future in his mind. But his owner Leonard isn't so much. Leonard is one of the less popular kids. He has a hard time keeping up with every one of his, making friends, mostly because his homeroom teacher is his own mother. Perhaps this sense of nepotism is the main drive for Leonard's desperation for making friends, as he feels no one would care for him. But Scott is always on his side. Upon learning that Spot is Scott and that his own dog talks, it seems as though it would make school more interesting for him. He has someone to talk to, connect to, and he would be on his side all the time. But I believe it goes more deeper than that. Scott is seen as a very cool kid and it always gathers the attention of the other kids. Leonard at times feels more like a shadow to Scott, saddened that his own dog has achieved more popularity than him. However, majority of the time, Scott always tries to help Leonard to make everyone know how great of a person he is. Just by getting to know him, people would like him. Scott is very supportive for Leonard. Naturally, as his dog, he's very loyal, but at times it can be hard for him to understand Leonard's complex sentiment towards his own life. But Scott pushes for him. In Leonard's life, Scott's the only one that has really pushed him to be better, or in other words, to be just as amazing as he sees him. Now, why would Spot do that? And does any of this have anything to do with him going to school? In actuality, there's no possible reason as to why that is. But perhaps there's one key thing in Leonard's life that Spot realizes is missing. Because Scott is so smart, he would teach Leonard many things throughout the show. He taught him about making money, how to flip cards, be a better sports player. He has done so many things for him, it's incredible. But notice how he is the one doing that. So far I've mentioned who's in his house, but there's one thing missing. A father. Now, of course, societal standards have changed throughout the years, so a father figure isn't exactly something that makes a family a family. But there are some points that lead me to my hypothesis. Scott wants an education to better himself while thinking about others. Scott is constantly there for Leonard, even if no one wants to or understands him. So far, those are two things, but there's one thing I did not mention. Leonard's mother. She is also his teacher and she constantly smothers him in class. While he finds it irritating and bothersome, she cares for Leonard even if he wants his space. As independent as she is, perhaps she's okay without a husband. However, we don't know what's the case with that. He is never mentioned or acknowledged. There's no telling if he's dead or if he left the family, or if there's some sort of abuse going on. It's very ambiguous, but one thing's for sure, Spot and the other pets were seamlessly there as support animals. Now with that in mind, what does this have to do with Spot? Well, it's quite simple. In the full-length movie, it served as a series finale to the show. In it, school ends and Spot comes to terms that Leonard and his mother have gone to Florida without him. But then Spot finds out there's a scientist in Florida that performs procedures that turns animals into humans. He tags along in the trip as Scott to go find the scientist. In the show, it's stated that Spot wants to be a boy. A boy that can go to school to have a purpose in life. But Scott doesn't act very childlike. In fact, he's more of a young, hyperactive adult than a child. That came to be when Spot gets the procedure and he becomes a man. Because he miscalculated his own dog years, he becomes an adult man. Then we get to the pinnacle of the whole ordeal. With no one else to turn, as it was believed that Scott was a part of the trip, he finds a way to trick Leonard's mother into thinking he is a teacher who came to help out. But it leads into them having a date and getting very comfortable, to the point where he started falling for her. But of course, he always keeps his best interests with Leonard, and so he uses this as an opportunity to decide he will stay a man and of course, marry Leonard's mother and ultimately becoming his new father. Even though he wishes he would be a boy, he decides this could be a new opportunity for the family. If he becomes Leonard's new father and take care of him as always and lead him into a better path to a bright future. So with all that being said, my point becomes clear. Do you get it? Do you actually get it? He wanted to be his dad so that Leonard could be happy. He knew Leonard had nobody that listened, but Spot was willing to accept a new life and to become his dad, so that the two of them would get closer while making Leonard feel like he matters. Because he loves him. It's just so beautiful. He would make such a good dad. I wish my dad could be like Spot. Where are you, Dad? I wish we could have had a better future like Spot and Leonard will. Why did you leave? Why did you fucking leave me? I could have been better. I could have been a better fucking son. Damn it! Best cartoon of 2002.